This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The time is 6:15. Here is the news, edited by Dulmin Samarasinghe, read by Victor Raj. Here are the headlines of the local news. Island-wide travel restrictions extended until 21st of this month. Sri Lanka-China Friendship specialized kidney hospital built in Polonnaruwa vested with the public. The Cabinet Subcommittee on Cost of Living approves to revise fuel prices. The Prime Minister says public services is a duty and a responsibility. Foreign news, Chile capital locks down despite mass vaccination. Sports news, Copa America Brazilian Supreme Court rules tournament can go ahead. Local news in detail. Army Commander General Shavendra Silva says that a decision has been taken to further extend the island-wide travel restrictions until 21st of this month. It has now been decided that travel restrictions would not be lifted on Monday as announced earlier, and instead it would continue until 4 a.m. on 21st of this month. Sri Lanka-China Friendship specialized kidney hospital built in Polonnaruwa was vested with the public this morning under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The hospital is equipped with 5 surgical theatres with modern facilities for kidney transplant, and it can accommodate 200 residential patients. There are 20 beds in the intensive care unit. The hospital includes many other facilities including 100 blood transfusion machines, a kidney patients clinic complex, laboratories and research laboratories with modern technology. The hospital has been built according to Chinese and Sri Lankan architecture, is located on 16 acres of land. 120 billion rupees have been spent to build the hospital. The construction of the hospital complex commenced on request made to China by former President Maithripala Sirisena. 300 vehicles can be parked at the vehicle park. Former President Maithripala Sirisena and parliamentarians were present on the occasion. The Cabinet Subcommittee on Cost of Living has approved to revise fuel prices. Speaking during a press briefing today, Energy Minister Udaya Kamampela said effective date of the fuel price revision would be determined by the Ministries of Finance and Energy and informed later. He stated that due to the prevailing COVID-19 situation in the country, they cannot announce the date of the effective date in advance as the public would start forming long queues near fuel stations. Minister Kamampela stressed that as a government, they understand that the people of the country are currently facing a difficult moment due to the rising cost of living and the loss of income methods. He said that is the reason why the government refrained from increasing fuel prices throughout a period of 21 months and somehow maintained prices despite the significant hike in the fuel price in the global market. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa says that heads of organizations should make it certain to provide an efficient and productive service to the public. He said it is important to work in cooperation with trade union representatives. The Prime Minister mentioned this while taking part in a discussion on the present situation of the Employees Trust Fund Board at the Temple Trace. He pointed out that the public service is a responsibility and a duty. The Prime Minister said that problems at respective organizations must be solved by heads of organizations and trade union representatives through discussions. State Minister Mohan De Silva says that he will meet organic fertilizer producers at district secretariats island-wide until 30th of this month. He has met organic fertilizer producers today at the Colombo District Secretariat. The organic fertilizer program is scheduled to take place island-wide together with all district secretariats. The government has taken steps to provide the 5,000 rupee allowance to the people affected by the burnt ship. Those who were employed in 23 sectors related to the fishing industry will get the allowance. State Minister Kanchana Vijayasekara said that an estimate was submitted to the Justice Ministry on the loss of daily income of the people engaged in related industries. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Scan the Lanka QR code and make your payments with People's Pay mobile payment app from People's Bank.
Continuing with more local news, MP Professor Ranjit Bandara says that the struggles for trade union rights should be suspended when the country is facing a crisis due to the pandemic. The government is implementing various development projects while providing maximum relief to the people. More than 52,000 families in the Colombo districts have been paid the 5,000 rupee allowance. During a media briefing today, he said that the expected revenue was not received by the country due to the pandemic. However, he said that steps have been taken to honor many pledges given in the Vistas of Prosperity policy statement. SSP Imesha Muthumala has been appointed as the first female deputy director of the Criminal Investigation Department. She joined the police service as an apprentice assistant superintendent of police on 3rd November 2007 and is an officer with 14 years of experience. She holds a bachelor's science degree from the University of Ruhuna and a bachelor's of law from the Open University. She has served in the Nugeguda division, the CID and the police clearance report unit. Opposition leader Sajid Premadas and his wife have been discharged from medical care this morning upon recovering from COVID-19. Following discharge from hospital, the opposition leader and his wife have sought blessings at the Hunupitiya Gangarama temple and engaged in religious observances. The Australian High Commission has collaborated with the Environmental Film Festival Australia to organise an online short film festival to mark World Environment Day. The short films were available for streaming from 17 hours today until midnight on Sunday. Films will be streamed free of charge at https://watch.eventive.org/EFFA. For more details, visit the event on the official Facebook page of the Australian High Commission. The impact of the sunk Express Pearl ship on the fishermen will be discussed tomorrow morning at the Negombo Town Hall. Fisheries Minister Douglas Devananda, State Minister Kanchana Vijayasekara and Members of Parliament Nimal Lansa will be present. The media unit of the Ministry of Fisheries has announced that representatives of the affected fishermen's associations will participate in the discussion. Mayor of Moratuwa, Samanlal Fernando, who was remanded over unruly behavior during a COVID-19 vaccination program at Moratumulla, has been granted bail today. He was arrested by Moratumulla police after surrendering to Mount Lebanon police on 28th of May. That ends local news.
Nobody tells time like this. So why do you still pay with cash when you have People's Pay mobile app from People's Bank? Scan the Lanka QR code and make your payments with People's Pay mobile payment app from People's Bank.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Ministry of Health says that another 1,852 patients who were being treated for coronavirus have been discharged within the past 24 hours after recovering from the virus. This brings the total number of COVID-19 recoveries in the country to 184,090. Sri Lanka's tally of confirmed cases of coronavirus thus far is 216,134, while 31,911 positive patients are currently under medical care. The death toll due to the virus has moved to 2,011. That came to you on Main News Story.
The Main News Story was brought to you by Sidhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Workshops at schools during travel restrictions by the Parliament. Accordingly, short workshops on duties, traditions, activities, political science and media education will be conducted online. The Communication Department of Parliament is conducting the workshops. Further information can be obtained by calling over the telephone numbers 077 989 9085 and 071 535 2672. That came to you on Watchlight. News. Let's take a look at the headlines. Chile capital locks down despite mass vaccination. Ex-Mossad chief hints at Israeli role behind Iran nuclear attacks. Reports say Trump officials seized Democrats' Apple data. World news in detail. Chile has announced a lockdown in the capital Santiago amid rising COVID cases, despite nearly 60% of the country being fully vaccinated. More than 8 million residents living in and around the capital now must stay at home from tomorrow. Chile reported 7,760 new daily cases yesterday, with the vast majority of infections being among those who had not been fully vaccinated. Intensive care beds are nearing full capacity. The outgoing chief of Israel's Mossad intelligence service has offered the closest acknowledgement, yet his country was behind recent attacks targeting Iran's nuclear program and military scientists. The comments by Yossi Shohan, speaking to Israel's Channel 12 investigative program UDA in a segment aired last night, offered an extraordinary debriefing by the head of the typically secretive agency. Democrats have demanded a probe into reports that officials acting under former President Donald Trump seized lawmakers' Apple account information. According to the New York Times, prosecutors subpoenaed the tech agent for account data for at least 2 House Intelligence Committee members. Representative Adam Schiff, now the committee's chairman, was reportedly one of those targeted. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Chile capital locks down despite mass vaccination. Ex-Mossad chief hints at Israeli role behind Iran nuclear attacks. Reports say Trump officials seized Democrats' Apple data. That ends world news. Moving on to development news. The discussion on the development of education in the northern province was held under the patronage of Governor P.S.M. Charles. Development projects funded by the Ministry of Education were discussed. The governor has instructed officials yesterday to finalize unfinished projects by July. Governor of the Northern Province, P.S.M. Charles, has advised to submit the relevant proposals for the year 2022 expeditiously. That ends development news. Moving on to sports news, football first. The Copa America, which is set to start on Sunday, can go ahead in Brazil. The country's Supreme Court has decided. Judges held an emergency session on Thursday to consider requests to hold the competition because of the coronavirus pandemic. It was argued that hosting the tournament would endanger the lives of thousands of people. The judges said that Brazilian constitution did not give the court the power to block it. Mixed martial arts. Former Olympic boxing champion Clayzera Shields recovered from 2 early takedowns to win her debut professional mixed martial arts contest. The American beat competitor Brittany Elkini by a third-round technical knockout in the Professional Fights League match in Atlantic City. Shields showed composure and patience to defeat the more experienced figure. That ends sports news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
The country's tourism sector is lobbying the government to get the interest component of their loans waived off during the period of a moratorium, as the industry sees no light at the end of the tunnel with the latest round of restrictions imposed. The local resort sector shows some signs of recovery in business through April holidays, as people patronize them in increasing numbers, helping the sector to remain afloat, although that was remotely sufficient to cover their costs. That ends Business News.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news. Courtesy of
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The government called for greater support for the ongoing port city development, since it is acknowledged to be the key to Sri Lanka getting its microeconomic fundamentals right. State Minister of Finance, Capital Markets and State Entrepreneurs Reforms, Ajit Niwad Cabral, has asserted that if the Sri Lanka can perfect the port city development project, the nation's micro fundamentals will change rapidly in a highly significant manner. That ends Economic News.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
The Met Department shows showers of thunder showers occur at times in western and Sabaragamulla provinces and in Galle, Mathura, Nuwara and Kandy districts. Fairly heavy falls, about 75 mm, can be expected at some places. Several spells of showers will occur in northwestern province. Showers of thunder showers will occur at a few places in over and eastern province during the evening or night. Wind speed will be 40 km per hour in a western slope of the Central Hills, northern, north central and northwestern provinces, and in Hambantota and Trincomalee districts. The wind speed can increase up to 50 km per hour at times in these areas. That ends Weather Report.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
Let's take a look at the headlines once again to wrap up the evening news on Radio Sri Lanka. Island-wide travel restrictions extended until 21st of this month. Sri Lanka-China Friendship specialized kidney hospital built in Polonnaruwa vested with the public. The Cabinet Subcommittee on Cost of Living approves to revise fuel prices. The Prime Minister says public service is a duty and a responsibility. Foreign news, Chile capital locks down despite mass vaccination. Sports news, Copa America, Brazilian Supreme Court rules tournament can go ahead. That ends the evening news broadcast on Radio Sri Lanka. Back to my good friend and US Geethanjali Ramanayaka.